Live from PFLAG National, it's PFLAG Parent Day. Featuring Second Gentleman of the United States, Douglas Emhoff, Belinda Carlisle and Duke Mason, Batwoman's Javicia Leslie, Shangela, Daphne Rubin Vega, John PAVLOVITZ, Jessica Heck, Adam Faison, Molly Bernard, Colin Mockery and Deborah McGrath, Michael D. Cohen, Lorraine Newman, Bronwyn Wyndham Burke and Jacob Wyndham Burke, Diane Anderson Minchell, Sylvia Vasquez Lovato, MALIA CIVETZ, Kat Cunning, Matt Palmer, and from Star Trek Discovery, Anthony Rapp and Wilson Cruz, Hulu's Love Victor, HBO's Generation, and Netflix Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts, with performances by Allison Pontier and Mother Mother. Please welcome Director of Communications for PFLAG National, Liz Owen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this PFLAG National celebration of parenting people who are showing up with support, affirmation, and love for LGBTQ plus kids of all ages. You know, with all the challenges of the last few years, fighting to pass the Equality Act, beating back bad anti-trans bills in dozens of states, and just generally advocating for LGBTQ plus people and their families, today we are here to uplift you, the trusted adults who have been doing this fierce and important PFLAG work. So to get started, let's welcome a passionate PFLAG mom and her queer kid. They have supported each other on very public PFLAG coming out journeys on the Real Housewives of Orange County. Please welcome Bronwyn and Jacob Wyndham Burke.
Hey, hello everyone.
Welcome to you both. Bronwyn, we're going to start with you. You know, you've had your own recent coming out experience. Do you have a specific example of how parenting Jacob helped pave the path for you to come out as your authentic self?
Absolutely. So February of 2019, we had an amazing night together. We got to go down to San Diego. They had an LGBTQ youth center event. It was an amazing drag show, and they invited us, and it was Jacob's first time doing drag. And it was so amazing to see this child that I had that was a little bit shy, a little bit sad, just come alive. We put the dress on and we filmed this. It aired on the show. We put the dress, the makeup, and it's just everything that Jacob was born to be was in that moment. And I was so inspired by my child living their authentic life so openly and so publicly that it was like, wow, if a 15-year-old or 14 at the time, if a 14-year-old can do this, I can do this too. You know, Jacob is definitely one of the strongest people I know. He's always giving me advice. Be yourself. You're welcome, baby. You know, be yourself. Don't listen to the haters. You are stronger. And, you know, seeing him that day in that environment with all of these amazing drag queens who were just saying thank you to him for embracing himself and being, you know, a role model to so many other people his age, I was like, if my 14-year-old can live their authentic life, so can I.
And the children shall lead the way, right? So, Jacob, I see all the feels coming up here. So what does your mom's support mean to you? And also, what are those words she's saying right now mean for you?
Well, my mom's support is, you know, one, it's very incredible. A lot of people don't have that. A couple, like my friend, I go to like a really cool school, right? And, you know, a couple of my friends, their parents aren't as supportive, and it's kind of sad. Yeah. But I got lucky. I got lucky with this mom right here. And, you know, I'm just incredibly smiling right now. She just kept saying nice things about me.
Oh.
And, you know, I am a bit shy. I am a bit nervous, but, you know, she's given me like all the support I've needed, and like anything that I've wanted to do, she's helped me do it. She hasn't been like judgmental about anything that I've wanted to do. She hasn't been like, oh no, you can't do that, or oh no, that's stupid. She's been like, yeah, no, I'll help you. Yeah, let's go do it.
That's so it is cool, and it's really beautiful, and it's what that parenting love is all about. So Bronwyn, you're super committed to your kid, and I know that you're also super committed to your local PFLAG chapter, including supporting their scholarship fund in a really special way. Can you talk more about that?
I can. So Jessica Herthel is a good friend of mine. She runs PFLAG Newport Beach. And during the holidays, I thought, what can I do? And so I took all of my cameos and we were able to raise about $10,000, and they were able to create a scholarship fund for PFLAG Newport Beach. Amazing. And after that, I was like, okay, what more can we do? You know, this is amazing. We are changing kids' lives. And I always say, what can you do where you are with what you have? So I might not be able to change the world on a global level, but I can definitely enact change in a very conservative town that we live in, of Newport Beach. You know, PFLAG is this little beacon of hope in a very conservative town. So we were able to partner with Blue Bud Metals. They had sent me these beautiful pride necklaces. And so I reached out to them and I said, would you be willing to work with us and do an Amplified Voices line? Amplified Voices is the show that I started during quarantine, sharing the stories of LGBTQ, addiction, mental health, any voice that needed to be heard that wasn't. And so Blue Bud Metal said, of course. So for Pride Month, starting today actually, but during Pride, all of the proceeds from the Blue Blood Metals Amplified Voices line go to the scholarship fund for seniors in PFLAG Newport Beach.
That is amazing. I really thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your commitment to each other, to your local PFLAG chapter, and thanks for setting such a great example for PFLAG families everywhere.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
So we have so many fabulous and encouraging friends here at PFLAG. They couldn't all be with us live today, but they have sent their messages of support along to us. So right now, from Everything's Gonna Be Okay, here's our friend, Adam Faison.
Hey, my name is Adam Faison, and in honor of PFLAG Parent Day, I am excited to be here to celebrate all the parents who are showing up for LGBTQ plus folks, especially during this past difficult year. I know personally, growing up in a conservative area, it helped tremendously to have the support of my parents along my coming out journey, and I'm sure it's helped your child as well, more than you know. So thank you for your love and your support, and happy PFLAG Parent Day.
Thanks, Adam. The Netflix show Special tells the story of Ryan, a disabled gay man with a loving and supportive mom. Special is the first show of its kind to give raw, real, authentic visibility to the disabled queer community. And once I started watching, I couldn't stop. So please join me in welcoming Ryan's parenting person, Jessica Hecht. Welcome, Jessica. It's so good to have you with us.
I'm so happy to be here. It's an honor. Thank you.
So let's dive right in. Your character on Special, Karen Hayes, she's such a PFLAG mom, loving, encouraging her child who's a gay man with a disability. What is your favorite thing about playing Karen?
That I learned so much about being the mom to a gay man with a disability. And I just learned so much about the issues and the experiences that somebody would have in Ryan's shoes, and perspective on life where one would feel worried about being accepted and worried about finding the person that will really take him for who he is. And I have kids that age, or a little bit younger. I have a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old. And of course, I want them to find love and all of that, but through Ryan's, and I think they're amazing, and I want somebody to accept them for who they are. But the complexity of what Ryan is dealing with and is really fascinating to me and opens my heart and my mind.
I love that. And so that's what so many PFLAG parents go through, and a lot of parenting people go through. You know, we have these hopes and dreams for our kids, and we just want someone who will love them the way we love them.
Of course, yes, of course. Of course, our anxiety as parents that somebody will hurt our kid is exacerbated.
Can you tell us a little bit about, you said you're a parent, so you're parenting people, or as a parent yourself, what makes that experience special to you?
Oh, I think what makes it special for me is trying to learn the new guidelines for parenting, honestly. There's something about this generation and trying to not shame them. And I think that's a very, very, very deep issue that we all are are looking at our kids' lives, with a little bit of, God, wow, you want to go through that, or you want to experience that, and things are so different from the way they were when we were kids, and not to pass judgment, as long as there's some openness and some safety, trying not to pass judgment. And that has been my biggest um, lesson, to learn, to keep learning and to remember. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. So I guess my last question to you is, of course, we're here celebrating parenting people today. So what message of support do you have to share with the parents of LGBTQ kids that we're here celebrating today?
Oh, well, for the parents of LGBTQ kids, I just feel that you are preparing the next generation of humans, because so many people are looking at their gender with a more open mind. Hopefully adults are looking at gender with a more open mind as well. But you are building the future of our communities. And I just want to say thank you, because it helps us all. I really, really am so grateful that you're doing this this God's work, for lack of a better description, whatever God means to you, you're doing it. So bless you and thank you.
We'll take it. Jessica, thanks so much for being here today.
Yeah. Watch special, and well, just because I love Ryan, and I hope it brings you comfort and joy. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Take care. Thank you.
And don't forget to check out Special Season 2 on Netflix. It's a great, great binge watch. Now, here with a message of love for their parenting people, non-binary musician and actor, and affectionately known as Dad to their fans, Kat Cunning.
It takes bravery to be the parent of a child who perceives life will be difficult. That's why I'm so grateful to my parents for following my lead of courage and bravery and faith and trust and hope that my life as a queer person, as a non-binary person, as a person who identifies as they, them, will be fruitful and successful and the only option I have in being the person I am. I'm so excited to support PFLAG's Parents' Day, because coming out is never easy, but with the support of your chosen family and your family, and when they have the resources to be supportive, it's a lot easier. As an aside, I also launched the Give a Yes line so folks can leave messages of support for queer people who need it. Whether you are a parent, an ally, or queer yourself, I hope you'll leave a message of support or tell a little bit of your story. This is a place for some of the people who don't have parents who can say the right things to them today. Please drop in, leave a message, and happy Parents' Day to all you guys. Also, shout out to my fans who call me Dad. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Our next guest has a huge fan following, including PFLAG National's own Director of Learning and Inclusion, Jean Marie Nevada. And she would never forgive me if I did not include her in this interview. So welcome, Jean Marie.
Thank you so much, Liz. Everybody in queer geekdom was just thrilled when Batwoman was announced, and we found out that a queer character was actually going to be played by a queer actor. But when the original actor left the series, I have to admit that many of us in geekdom were kind of holding our breath, wanting to see if we'd hold on to our progress. And then we met Javicia Leslie, and all of our superhero dreams came true. A queer, Black, out actor picking up the bat cowl. Welcome, Javicia Leslie.
Jean Marie, that intro has made me tear up. Oh my gosh.
As an out bisexual woman, what has the visibility that Batwoman has given you meant?
I you know what? I think that it's just so cool. And I know that so many people opened so many doors before me. But it's so cool that as an artist, I can just be myself. And I can be myself first, and then I can have fun with the art second. So when Batwoman came along, I didn't have to. No one asked me to come out, or no one asked me to talk about my own journey. I just felt like, man, it would be really cool for other, like, little versions of me to feel represented. And what I mean by that is, like, I remember when I was growing up and I didn't see me on the screen. I didn't see Black women. I didn't see queer Black women. I didn't get to see, like, these stories that we're telling. And I felt like I wanted to just show that you could just be who you are, and I am that representation of being who you are. What I love so much about our show is that, I feel with Ryan's Batwoman, you just kind of come into it. There's no true coming out. She is who she is already. So you're able to just like kind of come into it and just and watch it unfold and live it and just see these beautiful queer relationships that can just exist, like how they should just be able to exist in society. So I think that that's what makes Ryan's Batwoman really relatable, because you don't feel like you have to be reintroduced. You come into it, you come into who she is, you come into her pre-existing relationships like with Angelique, and maybe some future relationships that I can't talk about right now.
Oh, now I'm very excited. Now I'm very, very excited. So, you've talked about your bi identity, and you talked about discussing it with your mom when you were cast as Batwoman. And you kind of changed up the terminology. I was reading an interview where you said it wasn't really coming out as so much as it was a conversation. Can you talk a little bit about what you meant there and what your mom's support for you has meant?
I just know so many family members and friends that have had a coming out experience that was trauma, and it was traumatic. And I never wanted my story to take away from the true courage it takes when you're coming out to a family or a friend or people that love you that don't really support it. I wanted to just talk to my mom. I wanted to make sure, like, okay, so I'm not catching you off guard. And I went to go even open my mouth, and she kind of just stopped me like, girl, I know you. You're my daughter. I've known you your entire life. And there's nothing about you I don't know. And I love you. And I don't, whatever, like, I love you. And it was just the end of the conversation. And it just having that support from my mom, and it was in a way where it wasn't even asked for, it was just given. Having that support from my mom gives me so much confidence and guts to just be brave and to be fearless and to say who I am and know that it doesn't matter. My mom loves me, So that's why I say I don't really consider it a coming out story.
So, Javicia, one last question for you. Do you think you can offer a few words of support for queer kids whose parents are not yet supportive of them? I mean, a message from a real life superhero would mean a lot to them.
Yes, of course. So I would say, remain who you are, steadfast, stay strong. Know that your loved one does love you. And if there's anything I can say, is just continue to love them, because I think the scary part for loved ones is that they may feel like their person has changed. And what they don't realize is you've always been who you are. You're just now finally able to show it. So continue to just love on them. If you feel like you're scared or you feel like you need support, there are so many organizations that are going to support you through your journey. PFLAG is one that will truly highlight you and uplift you. And I love you. They love you. We all love you. So just know that that love hasn't changed, and that you're supported, and that you have a friend and you have an ally.
Thank you so much, Javicia. Batwoman, you are my Batwoman. We so appreciate you and everything that you're doing.
Thank you, Jean Marie. This was so amazing. Thank you, PFLAG, for having me.
Thank you so much, Jean Marie and Javicia. So here's an introduction I had always hoped I would get to make someday, and it is really exciting. Please welcome to PFLAG Parent Day, the second gentleman of the United States, Douglas Emhoff.
Hello, everyone. Happy PFLAG Parent Day. Difficult times, like the ones we're living through right now, remind us all of the importance of family, the importance of having loved ones around who show up during challenging times, people who can keep us laughing, and people who remind us that we're not in this alone. Family matters, which is why today I'm thrilled to join you all to celebrate the parenting people who are showing up every day for LGBTQ plus kids everywhere. The moms, dads, non-binary and transgender parents, the parents by blood, by foster care, by adoption, the chosen or found families, and the teachers, healthcare workers, mentors, and so much more who show up each and every day for LGBTQ plus kids to make sure they know they are valued, loved, and supported. We've all seen how LGBTQ plus kids, especially transgender kids, have been under attack in states across the country. This is unacceptable, it's heartbreaking, it's wrong, and it must stop now. Your fierce determination in supporting and loving your kids has come through in the way you've been taking action. Together, you are building a society that is more inclusive of people, no matter their sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression. A society that protects and values all of our kids. And I'm here today to make clear, you are not in this alone. The Biden-Harris administration is committed to advancing equality for LGBTQ plus people everywhere, in classrooms, sports fields, work, in our military, and in our housing and healthcare systems, everywhere. We will continue to stand with you as we work to pass the Equality Act and other protections for LGBTQ plus families. As a dad who loves his kids more than anything else, and I would do anything for them and to support them, I know what it's like to want nothing but the best for your children. And I'm so glad to know that PFLAG is there for every parenting person who needs support. Through nearly 50 years of work, PFLAG has shown, and the data proves, that love and affirmation from parents and parenting people saves LGBTQ plus lives. So today, I'm here to thank you. I'm here to celebrate your beautiful families. Your love and affirmation makes a difference.
Thank you so much, Mr. Emhoff. Our next guests are comedy pros, but they are nothing but serious about lovingly and publicly supporting their transgender daughter. Please welcome Colin Mockery and Deborah McGrath. Welcome, Deborah and Colin. It's so great to have you both here.
It's so lovely to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know how sharing this journey with your child has changed each of you. Colin, let's start with you.
Well, first of all, I've never used the word journey so much in my life. And it's true. It has been an incredible journey. I think the thing that has really honed in for me is how I'm a better listener as a parent. I mean, I think this really focused because it was an area I was not fully versed in. I had to listen and learn from things Kinley was telling me, videos she would send us, articles. So I really learned how to listen to my daughter, how to listen to my child.
And I guess for me, and I've said this to a lot of people, and it's the truth, I wouldn't have missed this experience for the world. It's been beyond a busting heart experience of joy. It's been such a learning experience. As Colin said, learning the things, the pronouns, the yes, the no's, but it's also been reminding myself of past transgressions, things when we were at Second City in the, let's just say the 80s, for example, and things that we thought were funny that I can't even think of now, that are so cringeworthy, and it gives me the 3 a.m. regrets. But I figure that's already passed. You move forward and you spread the good word.
I love that. And I love that you brought up Second City, because there's something about accepting every offer, saying yes, and like to make you receive that information from your child. I would have to think that there's something about the openness of the training that you have that as a parent, maybe even makes you more receptive to listening and hearing and just saying yes.
I think it does. I mean, it certainly helps you walk into situations with a fresh eye and not have any preconceived ideas. And it does teach you how to accept. And again, it comes back to listening and accepting what the person, it's not just the yes, it's the yes and. So you accept it and then you go from there and build upon that. So I think that really did help us having that background.
I do too. And we were open to it, which helped immensely. And I think there were many, many months of us asking her questions, listening to her tell us things, and we're, really? Okay. So that's a thing. All right. And then we'd practice and we did a lot of our own research and passing things back and forth. And then we'd go to her, Kinley, can you say this? Or this sort of gender identification. What's the difference between this one and that one? In the case of gender identity, etc., it is living and living on because it's going to continue to evolve. Now it's getting ridiculous. I'm really sick of hearing that, folks, because it's not getting ridiculous.
Don't say it. Don't say
Don't
it to
say
her.
it to me.
Don't say it.
Do not. If someone has found something that speaks to who they are, good. May seem ridiculous to you, but it's given a person who is lost a home, something that goes, this is who I am. That's fine with me.
Well, I really, really cannot thank you both enough for being here today. You are such a model to so many people walking this path, and just thank you for being you.
Oh,
thank you so much. I mean, we constantly talk about how weird it is to be admired for loving your child.
I know.
It really is the most natural thing in the world. So do it.
Yeah.
It really is. There's nothing simpler than just loving your child, and you want them to be happy. And our daughter is just so incredibly happy. So
she's just bursting with happiness. And I think to myself, when people talk about, did it bother you? First of all, we never invested in our child's gender. It's her life and it's her business. I always said I was invested in her humanity. I don't care how she identifies. It doesn't change anything for us. It's her life and her path.
Better words never spoken.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I just love talking to them. Next, growing up in a conservative Texas town definitely makes it hard to live authentically. But now out and proud and here to perform her debut single, Cowboy. Please welcome Allison Pontier.
Hi, I'm Allison Pontier. This is Cowboy, and Meg Talley will be joining me playing guitar. Thank you so much. Okay, 1, 2, 3. It took New York to make me a cowboy. Now everybody knows, even if I change my clothes, familiar but strange like an android. From every gaping hole, a new garden fully grows. From me, wasn't ready, I wasn't ready. I had a foot in my mouth. Oh, saw the catters through barbed wire. Wasn't sure I could come out. I'm doing the weaving of the old roots. My greatest enemy took up residence in me. Feel like a criminal, no history. Running from the law, do I really love them all? Wasn't ready, I wasn't ready. I had a foot in my mouth. Oh, saw the catters through barbed wire and didn't know I could come out. Oh, wasn't ready, I wasn't ready. I had a foot in my mouth. Oh no, know her everything by memory. I'm just a girl from the South. Oh, born from the beige. These feelings made me feel strange. A neon sign, not the only one of my kind. took New York to make me a cowboy. Now everybody knows, even if I change my clothes, familiar but strange like an android. From every gaping hole, a new garden fully grows. Born from the beige, these feelings made me feel strange. A neon sign, not the only one of my kind. This is how I felt in the Bible Belt. Wanna be that girl for someone else.
Hi, I'm Zelda Barnes.
I'm Daniel Barnes.
And I am Ben Barnes.
And we're the creators of the television show Generation, now streaming on HBO Max.
So, 20 years ago, our lives were changed when an incredible woman from the Midwest decided to place her baby with a same-sex couple in Los Angeles.
Little did we know we would become a very, very proud, very queer family.
Our show really explores some of the issues that queer teens deal with, specifically parental acceptance.
Which is why we're so grateful for organizations like PFLAG that are making the world a better place.
Please go to HBO Max and check out our really queer show, Generation.
A big thanks to the Barneses for being here to celebrate PFLAG Parent Day, and definitely catch Generation on HBO Max. It's really good. Our next guest has been a role model to LGBTQ plus kids everywhere, creating opportunities for young trans and non-binary actors to follow in his Nickelodeon footsteps. Please welcome my friend, Michael D. Cohen.
Hey.
Hi, Michael. So good to have you here.
Thank you. Bodhi's with me too.
Hi, Bodhi. Oh, Bodhi is just sacked.
Bodhi's like watching intently.
I love it. So I would love to know, what do you hope that your visibility and the platform that you have through Nickelodeon will do for young trans and non-binary people and their parents?
It's a great question. I mean, what I'm hoping is that kids see that they have opportunity to do whatever they want in life, that, the way that we are born into this world and who we are, I think sometimes people think that that can work against us. And I just want to say that that's not true, that it can work for you in the sense that being authentic, whatever that is the way to realize your dreams. And that's what I'm hoping that they'll see. So it goes for any youth, whether they're trans or not trans, whether they're non-binary or binary, it doesn't matter. Being authentic, being who you are is what matters. And bringing that forward is really the key to being happy, to being successful, and people will respond to that. And so I wanted to create opportunities for kids who may not otherwise have those opportunities, and get them seen by Nickelodeon casting and now other casting directors and projects as well. So that's kind of what I hope is gonna happen, and that kids realize that if they want to be an actor, not all kids do, obviously, but if they do, that they don't have to just play one kind of role. They can play whatever they're right for, and that's out there for them.
I love that, and bringing some seriously big parenting person energy as a role model in that way, which, that's what I love about the chosen and found family and the way our role models show up as parenting people. So in that spirit, can you share some maybe words of love and support for LGBTQ youth based on your own experience?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I came up in a time when nobody knew anything about gender identity. There was just girl and boy and nothing else and no option. And if your body didn't match, you're just crazy. And that was it. And now it seems like, things are changing in that regard. And so despite all of the legislative issues that are going on, all the backlash and all the horrible stuff that we're seeing, to just keep things in perspective and know that things are changing and that there are organizations like PFLAG out there that are just doing amazing work. And there are so many more people that are there to support you than aren't. And find those people. And if it's not your parents and your family, it's because they're scared and they are uninformed, and find the people who do support you, because we are out there and we have your back.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying that. And yeah, it has been a really hard time. So those words of love and encouragement are really appreciated right now. Thanks so much for being here. And Bodhi, thank you for being here too.
He's like, yeah, fine.
Thanks, Michael.
All right, bye.
Now I am very proud to introduce my wonderful boss, PFLAG National Executive Director, Brian K. Bond.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Bond. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I have the honor of being the Executive Director of PFLAG National, working with fierce parents and amazing family, allies, and LGBTQ plus people across the country doing their part to make this a better world. On behalf of all of us here at PFLAG, thank you for joining us for this wonderful celebration of the parenting people, the moms and dads, the non-binary and trans parents, the found and chosen family, the teachers and caregivers, and all of the trusted adults who have been loving, supporting, and affirming LGBTQ plus people since our founding in 1973. As a gay man who was supported by his own parents, and as a step parent myself, I know how critical family affirmation is. Family support saves LGBTQ plus lives, and PFLAG parents are doing that work every single day. I am so grateful for everyone who is giving their time to participate in today's celebration. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. I am truly PFLAG proud to be with you today.
Our next guest has scaled impressive heights, figuratively as a sexual abuse survivor and advocate, and literally as the first Peruvian woman to summit Mount Everest and the first openly gay woman to complete the 7 summits. Please welcome Sylvia Vasquez Lovato.
Hello, Liz. How are you?
I'm great, Sylvia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for this invitation.
Yeah, so through your organization, Courageous Girls, you're really serving as a role model and parenting person to young women who, like you, are survivors of abuse. Mm-hmm. What has doing that work meant to you?
Great question. There is something different. I mean, like in terms of, for many of us who, have had to experience some trauma, there is an identity associated with it. And, one of the things that I learned when working with these young women was, the rejection by other families. And I remember at first, that opened up the compassion inside of me, because at first, when I was first coming out to my own family, I experienced a lot of rejection. It wasn't easy. I come from a very conservative background, and really defending the right of who I was, kind of marked me tremendously. I mean, it on top of the trauma that I had from my own abuse. And so I think, the irony is that one of the reasons I started climbing mountains was to find healing. And what mountains gave me was that healing and acceptance. And on top of it, the opportunity of really embracing my strength. And so when I launched my foundation, it was amazing to be able to show that to these young women, to really, allowing them a place for them to really embrace who they are, to know that just because they have gone through a painful experience, that doesn't alienate them. And it's been really wonderful. I mean, especially as a gay woman, I feel it has actually makes us very strong. And I am, and it is interesting. I mean, I never in a million years imagined that I would be on this journey that I would become a mountaineer and ultimately to become, an openly gay mountaineer. But yet, that representation, that opportunity of sharing who I am without having to hide my voice, showing my authentic self has been incredibly healing for me. And it's been amazing how it has helped others to be inspired by it.
Thank you. You have your story, you have persevered over so many mountains in your life. What advice or words of wisdom then would you share with queer youth who might still really be struggling today to get over their own mountains?
Number one, embrace your voice, your authentic self. You are a gift. Absolutely. There is no one like you, and you are important. You need to be with us. It can be so hard when families reject us, when some of our communities are not willing to give us a lending hand. But, know that there are so many organizations, there are so many of us who are here to love you, who are here to support you. You are not alone. And, we have, like what we're doing today with beautiful PFLAG and countless of other groups. And the beauty about it is that in the past, prior to COVID, when things were not as virtual, sometimes if you didn't have a physical organization, you'll feel like a little bit isolated, but not anymore. The beauty of the virtual world is that we can just reach worldwide. So to anybody who is struggling, it is your identity, and your identity is important. Your presence is important. Don't feel isolated. We are here to help. And that is really, my 2 cents.
Thank you. That was a great 2 cents. Well, I would be remiss not to mention that your memoir, In the Shadow of the Mountain, is coming out next year and is already set to be made into a film with Selena Gomez. I can't wait to read the book and see the movie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your inspiring words and for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lorraine Newman, and I'm so lucky to be able to show up today for my child Spike, because I want them to know how much I love them. That is the spirit of PFLAG Parent Day.
Thank you, Lorraine Newman. So like PFLAG, our next guests know a thing or two about allyship thanks to the Human Mute Ultimate Friendship Alliance. I'm, of course, talking about one of my personal favorite shows, Netflix's Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts, which is a totally joyous celebration of allyship, found family, and LGBTQ visibility. Please join me in welcoming the show's executive producer, Bill Wolkoff, and the voice of Benson, Coy Stewart.
Hey,
hello. Hey.
So good to have you both here. So Bill, I have to say, one of my favorite things about this show is just the casual queer inclusion that audiences didn't even have to wait for or be surprised by. It started right from the beginning with a fan favorite character. Why was that an important story for you to tell?
Well, we wanted to show a world in a kid's cartoon that looked like the world that, and when I say we, I'm talking about me and Rad Seacrest, my partner in making Kipo, who couldn't make it today. We wanted to show a world that resembles the world that we know. And when we started to make Kipo, we did not see a lot of kids entertainment and kids cartoons that had that reflected the diversity and the inclusion that we saw in our everyday lives. And we thought it was important to do that. And Benson was, just a tremendous opportunity to have a young queer Black kid in a very heroic role. So we wanted to get to do that from the beginning. And we were in the fortunate position where our studio, DreamWorks, and network Netflix really supported us in that. Because there's lots of, there are decades and decades of other show creators before us who tried to portray their cast with that type of inclusion and were unable to. And we were in the, we were one of the first that got to do that. And we stand on the shoulders of so many great creators before us. And we're really proud to get to do that with Benson. We're happy that Benson and the whole cast seem to resonate with people.
Oh, it absolutely did. And then it wasn't a coming out story. It was just like a here I am story, which just made it even better. So Coy, as Bill mentioned, not only did we get queer representation in a kid's show, but with Benson, we also have a way too rare example of a queer kid character of color. As an actor, what did voicing Benson mean to you?
Well, first off, I just want to say thank you guys so much for having me here. I'm honored to be here and to be a part of this. But yeah, I think for me, you know, it's my job as an actor to represent and reflect the stories of real people. And I love what Brad said. I mean, excuse me, I love what Bill said about, you know, we wanted to show a world that resembles the world we know. It's so true because I'm surrounded by LGBTQ plus family members. I have a transgender little sister. My best friend is bisexual. I have a gay nephew. Like, they're just a part of my family. And so this was an opportunity for me to be able to represent them. And it honestly was an honor for me. I don't feel like I deserve anything other than just, I feel like I am just a part of this story. And it's an honor for me to do it and to have friends and family to watch it and say, man, I wish that I had this when I was a kid so that I could see what it would be like to be confident in myself. And I agree with how you said it was such a nuanced coming out moment. And that's what I loved about it so much, was that Benson's sexuality didn't define him. It wasn't everything about who he was. It was a little piece of him that everybody loved. And I think that's what's important for people to understand, is that, you know, I've seen everyone here today just talking about love. And that's something that just resonates with me so much. I love my sister. I love my best friend. I love my nephew. I just love them. And so regardless of how they choose to identify or who they choose to love, I'm going to be here for them and I'm going to love them. And so that's what being a part of Kipo represents for me. And even as a young Black man, to see a character like this, it blows my mind. You know, I have nieces and nephews who'll send me videos of them watching Kipo and watching Benson, and it blows my mind that, you know, I'm a part of it. So it's just an honor. I'm grateful.
I love, and the way you describe your family, you like have your own PFLAG chapter built right in at home. So
I really do. I really do. I mean, it's a huge, beautiful family over here. I love it.
It's amazing.
I mean, the love that Coy, you know, has for his family, I think really shows in his portrayal in Benson. Benson is a character who lives in a world that's very dangerous, and you know, you have to be on your wits to survive. But Benson approaches a lot of the challenges that he meets with love, and I think that, you know, I'm just learning some of that about Coy's family, which I think is beautiful, and also a great chance to get to know Coy a little bit more. But I think that comes through in your portrayal of the character. So it's, you know, we couldn't have done Benson without you.
Oh man, I appreciate it. Yeah, I remember the moment being actually reading the script in that scene, because every week we would get a new script, and this wasn't something I knew when I first was a part of the show. And I remember reading that scene, and I was around my family, and I just jumped up and I started screaming, and I was like, yes, this is amazing. I love this scene. So I was so excited to get into the booth and just have a blast with it. And it came out even more beautiful than it was in the script. So, you know, like I said, it's just an honor.
It's a great moment. Well, like I said, it really isn't a spoiler alert because it happens so early in the series. So if you haven't watched this show, you're going to start and then you won't be able to stop. So I just went through it my second time. So my last question to each of you, I'd love to know, what do you hope people will take away from watching Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts? Is there a message or something you hope folks will take away?
I'll go first. Kipo is about a world that is different and unrecognizable, and a lot of humans see that as very scary, and they hide from that and they fight against that. And it's about a group of kids who embrace that, who led by this you know, powerful this relentless positivity in the form of the main character Kipo. It's about people who embrace that change and that difference. And I guess I would hope that kids watching the show would recognize themselves in the main cast and see characters who are persevering over fear and prejudice through their love for each other and through their own positivity. And it's not easy for them, by the way. They go through a lot, but they do persevere. So I would hope that kids recognize themselves and get some hope in that.
No, absolutely. I agree. If I were to add my 2 cents, I would just say it's to know what real family and real love should look like. I think sometimes it's hard to have a good example of representation like we've been talking about. And I think the way that people and their differences are accepted in Kipo is a good example for how your friends and family should accept you. And sometimes we may not always have that in people we're directly related with. You might find your community here at PFLAG, but Kipo is an example of how you should be accepted in your community. And, it shows that you got to have the courage to search high and low to find that community, but you will find it. And that's exactly how they should embrace you.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I'm really moved by what you both said. I think this show is a real allegory for what's going on in the world right now, especially with queer kids, trans kids who are under attack and people being afraid of what they don't understand. And relentless optimism and hard work with found family is really critical. So thank you both so much for being here today and for bringing so much joy with your show. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you so much. It was an honor.
Thank you very much. We're both honored to be here and be a part of this.
Absolutely.
Well, hello and hallelujah. Yes, it's me, Shangela, and I just want to say a special message to all those celebrating PFLAG Parenting Day. Parenting is so very important, especially for those of you who show up for our LGBTQIA+ youth and our kids. Thank you so much in whatever way. I know sometimes it's not even your birth family, it's your chosen family. I'm grateful that my mom, my birth mom, has shown up for me. My grandma, my family has shown up for me. I was raised by a village. Trust me, honey. I have an Aunt Sally who was so amazing. She wasn't related to me, or she isn't related to me by blood, but she feels like it because she was such an important person in my life. She saw something in me at a very young age, and she never judged me. She just accepted me and loved me and showed me great opportunities that were out there for me, more than just my surroundings. So I wish you all so much love, and I wish you all the best. Happy PFLAG Parenting Day. Bye.
Thank you, Shangela. Our next guests are telling a real PFLAG story on one of my personal favorite shows, Hulu's Love, Victor. Please welcome Michael Cimino, James Martinez, and Ana Ortiz. Welcome, Ana, Michael, and James. So good to have you all here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, Love, Victor is such a quintessential PFLAG story, with the coming out journey experienced by the child coming out as well as the parents. So I would love to hear from each of you what this journey is like has been for each of your characters, as spoiler free, of course, as you can keep it. So Michael, why don't we start with you?
It's definitely about like his self-discovery as like who he is as a gay man, and like an openly out gay man. And I think that it definitely explores more of like his dynamic and with his relationship, but also explores the dynamic of his parents learning how to navigate this new world that Victor is in as well.
Thank you so much. Ana, same question to you.
It's about navigating, this new territory of what you thought was, and now your world has been flipped upside down. And so I think, for Isabel, she really had to listen. And as a mom, sometimes that's not that easy. You just want to tell them what to do. And I think it was really exciting to play it, and to certainly to be part of this this ensemble.
That's awesome. And James, how about you?
It's just really fascinating to watch how Armando and Isabel and the whole family evolve. Armando, my character, specifically how he evolved not only as a parent, but as a human being. and how his whole world just opens up, and his mind and his heart. It's really inspiring to watch.
Well, I know I'm excited. I hope it's not too much of a spoiler to say I know Armando gets some help from PFLAG along the way. So I'm very excited to see that.
You can't do this alone.
That's right. That's right.
So as I said, today we're celebrating parenting people. And I know, Anna, I know you're a parent, and I would love to hear from each of you, whether you are a parenting person or you have parenting people in your life. What makes that parenting relationship special for you? Anna, why don't we start with you?
Well, I am a parent. I have 2 kids. I was really lucky. I was raised in New York. I was raised with 2 parents who were complete allies for the LGBTQ community. So my whole life has been one of allyship. I've never known anything different. And that was another reason why it was so interesting to be playing Isabel on Victor, because I really had to sort of delve into what she's going through and how she deals with it. And it was a beautiful experience, but I've been very blessed both with my parents and with my kids.
Amazing. James, how about you?
Wow, I'm a new parent. My son just turned 1, but what the show did for me was actually, it made me realize the importance of making sure that my son, grows up to respect and love himself and the world around him. So I'm just grateful for the timing in which everything happened, just shooting the show and learning to be a dad simultaneously. It was really a blessing.
Well, congratulations. That's amazing. And happy almost first birthday. That's incredible.
Thank you.
And Michael, your turn. How about the parenting people in your life?
Yeah, obviously I'm not a parent. I'm an animal parent. I have a
that counts.
But, that does count.
But I think that I think that as a kid growing up and like with obviously like most kids grow up with both parents or one parent or whatever. But I think the thing that a lot of kids forget sometimes is that our parents are big kids. Even though they seem like these all-knowing people, they are still kids and they make mistakes. They're just older kids. Kids just need to understand that like their parents do make mistakes, and parents need to understand that their kids aren't living in the same world that they did, and they go through a different kind of struggle.
That's really so true. It's so true. It's all a journey, right? Whether you're the parent or the kid, it's all a journey. Well, as you know, we're celebrating PFLAG Parent Day today. We're celebrating PFLAG Parent Day today and celebrating the parenting people of queer kids. So I would love to ask each of you before we sign off, just if you have any messages of love or support to all the parenting people who've been showing up for their queer kids this year. James, why don't I start with you first this time?
I've been so lucky and blessed to be a part of the artistic community. And as you know, that journey allows you to just meet people from all walks of life. And whenever I meet these brilliant people from LGBTQ, it's just, it makes me think about their upbringing and my admiration and my appreciation for parents that are raising their kids to thrive and grow and contribute in a positive way to this world is immense.
Thank you. Anna, how about you?
I mean, I grew up in the 80s, so it was a more difficult situation for kids if they were in any way different. And so to know that you guys have your kids back no matter what, you're raising justice warriors, you're raising love warriors, you're raising the next generation of acceptance and love, and you're fighting the good fight for the best cause ever. Thank you just isn't enough, but thank you.
And Michael?
I definitely just want to say that it's not the easiest thing to be a parent when you are breaking your own generational curses. And, even though when you were a kid and maybe your family wasn't so accepting of the LGBT community, but you are making efforts to accept your children for the way they are and who they are authentically. I think that is the most amazing thing in the whole world. And, even though it is difficult, it's more difficult than I bet I could even imagine to understand. I just want to say thank you guys for trying your best to break those generational curses and raising your kids to be the best that they can possibly be in an authentic way.
Awesome. Well, thank you three so much for being here, and I'm really excited for this next season. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us. This was really fun.
Yes, thank you so much. This is great.
Hello to all of the amazing parenting people and LGBTQIA plus kids tuning in. My name is Daphne Rubin Vega, and I'm honored to join PFLAG National for PFLAG Parent Day to thank all of you for supporting and loving queer youth. To the moms and dads, to the non-binary and trans parents, to the found and chosen parenting people, and particularly and especially to the teachers and healthcare workers who've been there for us during these surreally challenging times. Thank you all for what you've done and what you continue to do by your presence and contribution on this beautiful planet. Each and every day of your lives, you are a true inspiration. Happy PFLAG Parent Day. Peace and blessings.
Thank you, Daphne. Can't wait to see In the Heights. Our next guest is a longtime ally of faith to the LGBTQ plus community. His beautiful letter, If I Have Gay Children, 4 Promises from a Christian Pastor and Parent, went wildly viral a few years ago. His new book coming out this fall is called If God is Love, Don't Be a Jerk, and it might have one of my favorite titles of all time. Please welcome our friend, John PAVLOVITZ.
Hey, Liz, how are you today?
I'm good. It's really good to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Oh, it is a joy to be with you today.
So as a parent and a faith leader, I think you know all too well that to be a person of faith and a person who is or loves someone who is LGBTQ plus are not mutually exclusive. So what does being an ally of faith mean to you personally?
I think you're an ally both privately and publicly. So privately, I think it's about proximity. It's about having real, deep, authentic, interdependent relationships with people in the private. And then publicly, it's about specificity. It's about being clear and unapologetic about your love for, your support for, your solidarity with the LGBTQ plus community, because that invites pushback and invites consequences. And I think that reminds you that you're speaking clearly. And it also gives you insight into the discrimination, into the hatred, into the adversity that LGBTQ people face every day. So I think it's both being privately in proximity and then publicly very explicit. So you're close and then you're loud.
I love that. And especially sort of, that ally is not an identity, it's an action, and it's a really, it's a quiet action, but then it's a loud and public action that invites conversation, which you're out there having those conversations all day long, every day.
Yeah, I think you want consistency with your private and your public. And so you're living in that deep relational proximity, and then you're expressing that outwardly without fear and without reservation.
So I know that you often have people of faith who come to you, either they are themselves newly out or have loved ones, family members who come to you to say, I have a loved one who has come out and I am a person of faith and I don't know how to. What would you say to someone who comes to you sort of trying to reconcile those two parts of their lives?
Well, for me, when someone comes out to me, I tell them whether they're a person or a parent or a parenting person, the message is kind of the same. The first is to trust in how massive God is. If God is actually God, see, if God is God, then God is always going to outlove you and outgive you and outwelcome you. And so for allies especially, it's to try to emulate the character of that God toward people, because I think you're going to operate with more humanity, and that's always going to be a win. And I think it's also for allies and for parents and for parenting people and family members, it's remembering that this coming out story is not about you, that you're a peripheral part of this story, a very important part, but ultimately this is about a human being embracing their truest truth, and you want to be there to support that. I think often, parents and siblings can get caught up in how this news affects them and how it changes the story that they told themselves about how life was going to go. But you really need to center around the person whose primary story is changing. And I think that is always going to be the better path, and I think one of the other things I would say is when there's a gap between your understanding, err on the side of love. So if you've been raised in a religious context or with a particular theology, there are probably going to be tensions and questions with the news that you get about someone that you love. But you want to make sure that you can admit those questions and talk about those tensions, but always give love above all else. I think when my brother came out, my dad said, there are some things I don't understand and there are some things I don't know, but here's what I do understand. Here's what I do know. You're my son. I'm your dad. I love you, and our family is going to still be a family, and I'm in your corner. And that's all it took, that simplicity. And that's what I hope for all the family members and friends and support people around the LGBTQ community.
Does it get more basic than that? I think we need hashtag err on the side of love, just trending immediately right now. Err on the side of love. John, thank you for being you. We just need more of you out there. So thank you so much for being here today. It really means just the world.
Well, I'm grateful, and love to all the PFLAG family out there. Thank you.
Hello to all of the parenting people and their queer kids tuning in today. My name is MALIA CIVETZ, and I'm so excited to be here with PFLAG National to thank all of you. To all of the moms, dads, non-binary and trans parents, to the found and chosen parenting people, the teachers who have stepped up, and the healthcare workers who stood in during incredibly difficult times. Thank you so much. You have made such a huge difference in the lives of LGBTQ plus kids and people of all ages. Thank you for showing up and leading with love. Happy PFLAG Parent Day.
Next, she is best known for playing the over-the-top, unabashedly pan Lauren Heller on Paramount Plus's Younger. But now she's got a great new movie out, Milkwater, which is all about queer found family. Please welcome Molly Bernard. Molly, welcome. It's great to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
My total pleasure. So Milkwater is such a great film, and it talks so much about parenting people and chosen family. What drew you to the project?
You know, it was amazing to be part of this film because it really, really is about chosen families. And I myself am from a big conglomerate of a chosen family. And every aspect of the film just made me want to tell this story.
So you mentioned the film talks a lot about chosen family, and you're part of a big conglomerate of chosen people in your life. So can you tell us a little bit about the parenting people in your life and what makes them special to you?
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, my grandfather, who did a big chunk of the parenting, he passed away when I was 18. And my godmother, who later adopted me, and her partner became my mother's. And my friends, you know, they're also, you know, a part of the conglomerate. My mentors have become my parents, my best friends. I feel like my chosen family is extensive, but also tight. And basically, if you're my friend, you're kind of also my parent.
So Molly, of course, we're here celebrating PFLAG Parent Day and all of the parenting people to queer kids and queer people. Do you have a message of support or love you can share with those parenting people today?
I mean, first of all, what you do is critical. To be a parenting person, to a member of this community, requires so much compassion and empathy. And at the bare minimum, ask questions. And, you know, if your biological kid comes out to you and that's hard for you, it's not enough to nod and smile and say, okay, you know, have a follow-up question. Okay, what kind of people are you interested in? How, you know, how can I support you in this journey? That is something that I really believe deeply affects the person who's in the child role, right? That curiosity from their parenting figures is critically important to them knowing that they're safe and supported.
It's so true. Molly, thank you so much for being here today. I really can't thank you enough. And thank you for helping us celebrate all of the parenting people.
Yay, I love parenting people and love your children, biological, adopted, surrogates, whatever. We gotta love them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Diane Anderson Minchell, the CEO and editorial director of Pride Media, publishers of Out Magazine, The Advocate, Out Traveler, Plus magazines, as well as Pride.com. I've been a foster mom to dozens of kids, some just over weekends, others over years. And as a queer woman who relied on PFLAG and a youth shelter when I first came out as queer, I know that being an LGBTQ kid in the system is especially tough. Do know that there are people out there like me, like my transgender husband, like my bisexual bestie, like my gay and lesbian friends, who will show up for you, who will love you, not in spite of, but because of who you really are. Happy Parents' Day. Thank you, PFLAG, for all that you do.
Our next guests are longtime PFLAGers, and one of them was just inducted, along with her band, the Go-Go's, into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Please welcome our good friends, Belinda Carlisle and James Duke Mason. Welcome, Belinda and Duke. So good to have you here.
So nice to be here.
So last year we celebrated Mother's Day, and this year we're celebrating all of the parenting folks showing up for their LGBTQ kids, especially during this really difficult year. Belinda, what are the ways that you've been showing up for Duke?
Well, first of all, we haven't seen each other for a year and a half. You know, my husband and I, we live in Thailand, and the borders are pretty much closed here. So it's been really difficult, but thank God for FaceTime, because it's really made the separation a lot easier. And you know, we talk, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a day. I get up, I call him, and we have kind of a schedule. And you know, it's the best that we can do right now. And we've been hanging in there, and finally we get to see each other next month. And I'm all choked up just even thinking about it, honestly.
I am too, to be honest. I can't imagine. So Duke, that has to be so challenging. I can see it on your face too, that has to be really hard. So do you have an example of a moment from the last year when you needed your mom to show up for you and she was able to do that?
You know, especially because I'm an only child, I've always had a super close relationship to my mom and dad. And the fact that, you know, my mom toured a lot as a kid, I mean, you know, she would never really probably be away more than a month or two, even, you know, as a kid. So, but we would talk on the phone all the time. I never imagined that we would go for a year and a half. Like, I couldn't even have foreseen a circumstance where we would be away from each other. I mean, you know, the fact every single day she calls me at the exact same time at 2 p.m. on the dot every single day. And I know, like, in fact, today with my friend here in Palm Springs, I was like, I got to keep my phone by me by the pool because 2 p.m. she's going to call. So she shows up for me every single day. You know, she always checks in, always wants to make sure that I'm okay. And so, I mean, you know, I even though we haven't seen each other physically, I feel close to her all the time. And, you know, I can't wait to see her next month, June 11th, I think. So finally.
So do you have any advice for other parents or LGBTQ kids who are navigating these really difficult times?
I think particularly because of COVID, LGBTQ people have felt, including me, very sort of isolated from our communities. So I think for parents to try to be, understanding and mindful about that, and to try to maybe, step in and ask questions and check in and make sure they're okay and not feeling too isolated or lonely. I think that's more important than ever. Hopefully now that COVID's starting to come to an end, that's going to get better. But at least for the last year, I'm 29 years old, and I've had moments where I felt, pretty disconnected. So I can't imagine what it's like for, the teenagers and kids out there.
Thank you. How about you, Belinda? Any words of wisdom for the other parents navigating this journey right now?
Well, I think that, for us and our relationship this last year, communication is key. I think we're all suffering a little bit from isolation, and it's really hard. But I think reaching out to other people, making sure they're okay, making sure your son or daughter is okay, that's the most important thing. That's what we can do right now. And this, the way things are, it's challenging.
Well, thank you both so much for being here. I know the parenting folks watching, love you both and look to you and have learned from your journey. And we're just so happy to see you and excited for your reunion.
Yes, I am excited too. I'm counting the days. So it's about 30 days.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I just love them. Okay, now with a message of love for the parenting people out there, here is our good friend, singer-songwriter Matt Palmer.
This goes out to all of the supportive parents, even if they're coming out as queer has been a challenge in some way. I know that you being a supportive parenting person and giving your child that unconditional love they deserve is going to make all the difference in their lives. To all the parents that are already doing this and don't need, a childless man giving them advice, congratulations and kudos to you for being incredible parenting people. And we queer children, thank you and are thankful for you every day.
Our next guests have a huge fan following. And much like a previous guest, I think I might be fired if I didn't bring in my colleague, Jean Marie Nevada, to join us for this interview. Come on back, Jean Marie.
Live long and prosper, Liz.
I'm sorry, you got a costume change. That does not feel fair.
It seemed appropriate to celebrate the Star Trek universe.
It is all yours, my friend.
The Star Trek universe has always been about inclusion, but it wasn't until Star Trek Discovery that we got actual out queer characters. And to talk about that today, we have Anthony Rapp and Wilson Cruz. Thank you so much for being here. We're really excited to talk to you. And the first thing that I wanted to know is, as both out gay actors, what has having these roles meant to you? And what has this visibility meant for the entire conversation about inclusion?
For me, it's so many levels. One is that I've not only been out and queer and proud for a long time, like early 90s, but I've also been a big nerd for pretty much my whole life. So the combination of all those factors. And then one of my very best friends is also a big nerd and also queer and has been a huge Star Trek fan in particular. And he had shared with me over the years how much of the fandom, how much of a Venn diagram there is in the Star Trek fandom of queer people and Star Trek fans, and that they had been hungering for this sort of representation. And to meet so many fans from around the world, either in person at conventions or through the interwebs, and the response that they've given us has been more enthusiastic and welcoming than I could have ever hoped for.
And Wilson?
There's something really beautiful to me about these two characters, now 4 characters, now 5 characters actually, on the show who identify as LGBTQ, and are part of this team that season after season joins together with the rest of their family to save the world. And the message that sends to LGBTQ people all around the world, that not only are you valued and that you are seen, but that we need you, that we can't save the world without you. And so to give that to a fan base that, like Anthony has said, has hungered for it for, over 50 years now, to be the couple that brings that to them is humbling and overwhelming at the same time. And now that these characters have created this chosen family with our non-binary and trans kids who happen to be in love, we get to send this larger message about family and about how to create family and what chosen families are, and fostering children and what that means to you as an adult. And so in many ways, it's been very cathartic, and I'm very proud.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think that's so beautiful. I'm going to keep thinking about this as a healing thing, and I'm not going to let go of the Venn diagram of queer fans of Star Trek and the overlapping. That's going to stick with me for a while. Do you have any messages of support that you'd like to share with people parenting LGBTQ people today?
I think the thing that I want parents to know is that you're saving lives by embracing and supporting and loving your LGBTQ children. You are staving off trauma that so many generations have experienced by the rejection that they felt from their families. And you are changing the way that we see parents and parents of LGBTQ people. And you're modeling for an entire culture the way that every parent should treat their child, with unconditional love, and the knowledge that they are accepted exactly as they are. As someone who found that later in life, it's incredibly moving to me to see that. And so I'm personally grateful for all of the love that you show.
I would say that when I think of parenting, one of the things that's most important is that the child feel seen and known and safe to be themselves. And your presence as a part of this organization tells me that you are parents who take that very, very much to heart. And that gives me hope for yourselves and for your children. And on behalf of all of us queer folks who have grown up many, many varied situations with our parents, I was pretty lucky myself, but I do have friends who weren't so lucky in terms of how they were treated by their parents when they came out. Thank you.
Wilson, Cruz, Anthony Rapp, thank you so much for everything that you're doing for us out there in the queer universe, and live long and prosper.
You too, live long and prosper.
Thank you again, Jean-Marie. Okay, I have to admit, I'm fan-personing out a bit over our last performance today. They are indie rock favorites with a viral following on TikTok, and their new album, Inside, will be released in June, just in time for Pride Month. Here with their new single, I Got Love. I'm too excited for this. Here is Mother Mother.
Hey everybody, this is Ryan
and Jasmine
from Mother Mother, and we are so happy to be here for PFLAG's Parent Day.
We know how important it is for LGBTQ plus youth to feel supported and loved by their caregivers.
So a huge shout out to all of you, and here is our new song, I Got Love.
Don't got a house, don't got no throne. Oh, don't got a plan, don't got a chance, don't see a hand to hold my own. Oh, but I got love. I've got love. Oh, I've got love. I've got love. Oh, so I rock my pain like a baby child, and I know that we'll be alright. she's beating around the clock. Oh, I've got love and I've got my family as fucked up as they are. Oh, I've got my love, love, la 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 love. Yeah, everything could fall away. Society could burn in flames. But I won't need my arms or legs or eyes to find my way. 'Cause I got love. I've got love. I've got love and I've got my heart, but she's beating around the clock. Oh, I've got love and I've got my family as fucked up as they are. Oh, and I've got love and I've got my heart, my heart, my heart, my heart, my heart. Oh, and I've got love and I've got my family as bad shit as they are. Oh, I've got love.
Thank you, Mother. Oh my God. Now everyone knows why I'm a super fan. I am so ready for that album to come out. It has been so wonderful spending this time with all of our guests today, and of course, with all of you. I want to thank our sponsors, Warner Media and Bobo's. And finally, I would be remiss not to mention and remind everyone that at PFLAG National, we are working overtime to protect our LGBTQ kids of all ages by passing the Federal Equality Act. So if you haven't yet contacted your senators to do that today, right now would be a great time to visit pflag.org/Equality Act. Send your senators a note or a tweet, give them a call, tell them why this legislation is so important for your family. Thank you all for everything that you do all day, every day to make this world a better place for our LGBTQ loved ones. And I wish you all a great rest of your PFLAG Parent Day.